Yeah, we could just go. They can just rewind.
Huh, you want to go? Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Paul. Well, happy
Hey,
Saturday.
hey, how you doing,
Happy
man?
Saturday.
Yeah, it's
I'm doing
Saturday.
good, man.
It's
It's Saturday.
Saturday.
Happy Saturday. We're
Yeah,
doing a podcast on our free time.
sure.
So, right, we don't have a whole lot to do, I guess.
Is
But
time really free? What do you, what?
I agree.
Yeah, is
Is
time
it?
really free, man? I mean, this is
I know.
time has a price.
Mhm.
Time has a price. You got to make good use of your time.
Absolutely, man.
Cause
So I
we're
guess we do. I guess if you look at it from that perspective, we're doing the right thing.
yeah, cause we're all gonna run out of time eventually. So you
Right.
got to use your time wisely and to the best of your
Right.
ability. You know?
I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
So let's talk about. Well, we have this topic that we want to talk about today,
Mm-hmm.
right? Expat versus immigrants,
Oh,
right?
jeez.
But before we dive into that topic, last time you joined us in our first live
Mm-hmm.
with Crystal, but you were having connection problems.
Yeah. Okay.
And so why you don't introduce yourself, kind of talk about who you are,
Mhm.
where you live, all this stuff, so people know who you are, and then we can just start uh,
Yeah.
going over the topics
Well,
and stuff.
well, for those that know me, know that I'm from another dimension, and for those that don't know me, now you know that I'm from another dimension. I live in Buenos Aires, Argentina, over the rainbow in Buenos Aires, Argentina, searching for
Does
a
that mean
pot
you're
of
an
gold.
is that mean you're an alien? Because right now, you know, Obama and Trump say aliens are real, so
Uh,
maybe you're from another dimension. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, well, as a matter of fact, I've spent most of my adult life teaching English, and
Right.
I had a student who told me that his brother-in-law swears that he can detect aliens on the subways, on the buses, and among the average civilian, he could detect aliens. And he was serious about this. It's no joke. And there are people that believe that there are aliens living among us. Um, I don't know if that's possible or not, but why not? You know, I have a theory with regards to, aliens and humans. I think that in some way we are connected. It would be hard
Right.
to believe that we are the only things alive in all this, the vastness of existence of everything. We are the only things capable of life and this. I don't know. I don't know. You know, if there are a
Cool.
million different kinds of insects, why aren't there a million different kinds of people, humans,
I mean, obviously, yeah.
life forms?
Um, I wonder if we have immigrants, from outer space,
Yeah. They're
if we're gonna
expats. Hey,
deport
they're
them.
expats. Anyone from any other galaxy that's coming here, they're probably expats. They're probably spent 3 months and out. On an Earth visa. You know.
Right.
Yeah, they got their
Right.
visa, like Men in Black. Who knows?
Right. So
Yeah.
interesting. About me and you is like you live where I was born, and
Mhm.
I live where you were born.
Uh huh.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm in the U.S. You're in Argentina, so we kind of migrated around the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
You are
It's
an
crazy.
immigrant. You're
I'm
not
an
an
immigrant.
expat
Yeah,
because
I'm an
you've been there
immigrant.
for a long time.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
immigrant. I'm definitely not an expat.
Right.
I say I'm an expat because I am an ex of something. If you're an expat,
Right.
you're an ex. You could be an ex-husband, an ex-boyfriend, an ex whatever. That means you once
Right.
were. But what is Pat? Patriot? I don't know. I was an Eagles fan, so if anything, I'm an ex-Eagle or ex-Philly or I
Right.
don't know. So it
Right.
depends, man. I think that a lot of people who say, "Hey, no, you're not an expat, you're an immigrant," they're probably, I don't know, resentful of something, because maybe they were labeled immigrant. but it's just a word. It's just,
Right. You know what? It's always come down to labels. I was
yeah,
talking to this woman from she's from England, and she migrated to um some Asian country. I forgot what well,
Philippines,
it's one of
Hong
those countries. It's
Kong,
not the
Hong
one
Kong,
of those. I can't
Indonesia,
Indonesia.
Indonesia,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah,
she said. And you know, we were talking about labels, and as you know, between you have political labels, you right, left, far right, far left, you have different labels. And the same with everything else in life, like people like to label things. And I said, look, label divides people, right?
yeah,
But she also had a good point. Like I agree and disagree with you to a certain extent, because people like to live in groups, and they like to identify with something. So if you remove labels, they don't know where they belong. And I agree with that. I mean, I
yeah,
understood that was it makes sense, right? But
yeah,
we have to be careful how we use labels. And I think
sure,
the immigration label um, is bad right now. It's bad energy everywhere,
yeah,
right? If you look at immigration topics in Spain, all over Europe,
yeah,
right? And now in the America, especially South America, right now, I interview many Cubans or Venezuelans that live in Argentina or Uruguay, and there's a lot of people talking trash about them. And you have to measure people
yeah.
individually, not in groups.
Yeah, I think, well,
And that
immigrant, okay, immigration is fine. That what gives it a bad connotation is illegal immigrant. So automatically you think immigration, oh, you're thinking illegal because there's a lot of illegal immigration. So
right,
that already is immigration. Ooh, because right now it's tagged to
right,
like illegal. And it's
right,
all right to be an immigrant. It's not all right to be an illegal immigrant. If you're gonna, you're gonna
right,
be, yeah, you're gonna do things right. You know,
right.
so that's one of the main things. And also, what was I gonna? Oh man, I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, it has a bad connotation because of the illegal part. You
Yeah,
know.
that's I agree with that. So that opens a lot of topics for discussion, because
Yeah.
I understand where people are hurt from, you're an American and you go into another country and you call yourself an expat, no,
Yeah.
and most people that were labeled immigrants, no, you're an immigrant, you're not an expat, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the people that being labeled immigrants and when being discriminated for being
Yeah.
immigrant or being looked in a bad way, I was an immigrant all my life. And now you're gonna call yourself an expat? No, you're an immigrant.
Yeah.
So I understand where they're coming from,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Um, but I think legally, you are an immigrant. There's not a paperwork. I'm an expat. Oh, expat apply over here. Immigrants apply over here. When you're an immigrant, either temporary, 3 months, 4 months, right? Unless you're a tourist. I think there's a category for tourism
Yeah.
in legal um, in the legal process
Yeah.
of going to another country, right?
Well, yeah,
Enters.
just because first thing, man. I mean, this is new to us because ever since the pandemic, I mean, you couldn't get up and go work in Bali. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get up and go to work in Manhattan, or you couldn't get up and go to
Right,
work, in Costa Rica if you were a surfer, because you didn't have the technology. You either went to another
right,
country, and when you went to another country, you probably stayed there for a while. And now people, they just bounce around. You have a lot of these nomads, these digital nomads. They just bounce around. They just bounce
right,
around from country to country. And then, they're not really immigrants because they're not there long enough to like form a family, to like get an ID, to maybe and then retire there. So I think that's what these expats more that's what they identify more with, just a temporary
right.
temporary stay. So I don't think these temporary stay people, are really immigrants. They're just travelers. They're travelers. If you were a millionaire in the 70s and 80s and you traveled around from place to place and whatever, you weren't an immigrant. You were a tourist, an extranjero. You're a foreigner. But why
Right.
immigrant? Why not foreigner or extranjero? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Uh, and I'm in Argentina. We got labels for everything. You know,
Ah.
Someone who's got one leg is El Ringo. He doesn't have a name. He's El
Right.
Ringo. His name's not Jose, Mariano, Manuel. He's El Ringo. Huh?
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I live in a country where
Yeah.
there's full of labels. Shanky. Even in the
Right.
States, man. Hey, we got Agustin there. He's got all kinds of connection issues. Yeah,
Right.
cool. Yeah.
We
Okay,
have
figure that out. Can you see me okay, Claudio?
I can see you.
Yeah.
I don't hear any echo. Now, our connection is good. So that might be on your side, but it could be his connection too.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So that's what I mean. For example, the China. Hold on, Agustin, hold on. Give us a second because we're talking about something. Figure out. You need a better connection because you're all glitching. You're all
Yes.
glitched up. You're out of focus, like that movie, that Steve Martin movie where he's out of focus. Now, who was
Right.
that? Who was that? No, it was Woody Allen. He did that movie, and one of the characters was constantly out of focus in life.
Uh,
You would look at him, and he would be out of focus.
hmm.
Mm.
You got me in that movie because it's definitely a pretty old movie for
It's
sure.
I
Especially if
think
it's Woody Allen, it's an old movie.
it's everything you wanted to know about sex and were afraid to ask.
Hmm.
It's a long title. I read
Hmm.
it's a good movie. Everything you wanted to know about sex but were afraid to ask.
Right.
It's a Woody
So,
Allen movie.
Paul,
Yeah.
about the labels, right? I agree with you. You know, there's label for everything. And evidently, immigration has been a very hot topic right now.
Uh-huh.
And regardless of you're an expat or an immigrant, I don't think it really matters. You can label yourself whatever you want. It doesn't affect me personally.
Yeah.
Um, but I understand why other people feel that. But you say something that I think it really opened a good topic for discussion is illegal immigration, right? And we're both immigrant,
Yeah.
so we can talk about it. Um, I think I would never go to a country illegal.
Huh?
That would be me. First of all, because I wouldn't be able to go to work for someone illegal or being on the street illegal or just the thought of going to bed thinking that I'm illegal, it's already a problem
Sure.
for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's something I wouldn't be able to do. I know why some people do it, but something I heard from a guy I interviewed before. He's like, if you're complaining about being in, being in this country, you're complaining about we talking about the U.S. or whatever country you are. You're
Sure.
basically complaining about a choice that you made. And that resonate with me, still with me, because it's true. I think about when I wanted to move to the U.S. You're planning. You don't know how things gonna go, but you make the step. It's a big step, right? You gotta have
Yeah.
the courage and going to a country that I don't speak the language, I don't know the culture, and I'm going to try, see if it works out. And if you determine, it's going to work out because I'm determined. I'm going to make it happen. Now, what if that didn't work out? Then obviously I got to say, well, I got to come back to Argentina because it didn't
Mhm.
work out. So you're responsible for the choices that you made, whether you
Yeah.
migrate illegal
Yeah.
or
Also,
legal.
you got to get lucky, man. You have to have a work ethic. You have it depends, man. How old were you when you went to the States, when you migrated? 24,
I was
22, 20?
21 or 22, right? But
What year
what I'm saying,
was that? What year was that?
that's in the 90s, 94, 95.
94,
But
95.
that was a choice I made. What I'm
Yeah.
saying is like, if I choose to go illegal,
Yeah.
I know that I could get caught in the process. So why would I be upset if I get deported?
Uh,
I'm not against immigrants, but I
uh,
think, and I understand, people want to have sympathy about you being a hardworking person
yeah.
and having a good heart and a family person. I get it, but you're still illegal,
Yeah.
right?
I gotta be
So
honest. Yes, I gotta be honest, man. I mean, here we have in Argentina, we got a population of 42 million, 43 million people. We
yeah,
got a lot of illegal Bolivians, Peruvians. The Paraguayans are legal, but we got a problem. We got to get rid of the Bolivians and the Peruvians, the illegals. Those are the ones that are
right,
bringing in the drugs. It's just like what Trump's doing in the U.S. He's trying to get rid of the illegals, man. The ones that bring in the drugs,
right,
the ones that are doing no good, the ones that are the you gotta weed them out, man. If you got a nice garden and it's full of weeds eating up all your flowers, what are you gonna do? You got to get rid of the weeds.
right,
And
right,
a country's the same way, man. Yeah, a house,
right,
if you live
right,
in a house and you got, it's the same thing.
right.
So, but anyway,
And like I said, I'm not against immigration, and I have a heart for people. I don't, I don't hate people that are illegal. But what I'm saying is, at what point you are responsible for the decision you make.
right,
So if you leave Venezuela to any direction, south or north, and you die in the jungle on the way there, is that whose fault is that? Is
yeah,
that the person that maybe you got killed or hurt on the way somewhere, or maybe just die of starvation, or maybe
sure,
you drown somewhere? Whose fault is that? So if you make it to the US or any country and then you caught illegal and you get returned, you
sure,
are playing a card, you're playing a game, you are making that choice. That was always on the table. So that's the part I understand. Then we can debate about, well, United States and is an uh, country of immigrants. I understand that. So is Argentina. So is the
every
rest of
country,
America.
almost every country
Right,
is a country of immigrants, and even
right,
Africa. That's where the first
right,
aliens. That's where the first aliens landed and started having sex with
right,
the
right,
sex with the
right.
gorillas, and then the humans were born. If you want to get,
And
they
that's
were
when we
actually,
have AIDS. AIDS
yeah,
was born, I guess. I don't know. But
yeah.
I'm saying, like, it's interesting to me that, we cannot forget that we made choices, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So, yes. And all I'm saying all this stuff because, whether you're an expat or an immigrant, you made a choice. You made a choice. And if you're upset because you label as an immigrant, well, that's a choice that you made.
Yeah.
And if a person leaves the U.S. and go to live in Argentina or any other country, they want to call themselves an expat, but someone wants you to label you an immigrant. Well, it is what it is. So be it, because you made a choice to leave your country, and now you might play the politics whether I'm an expat or an immigrant. But we all make a choice. We made a
Sure.
choice. So, um, there's a lot of people right now that fleeing the U.S. They're
Sure.
moving because of the whole immigration situation, which is fine. You want to be at peace. You don't want to be walking on the streets. I am a legal immigrant, but tomorrow it is they decide to remove citizenship to all the legal immigrants. they're gonna deport me.
Yeah.
If they want to do that, they could do that tomorrow because Trump brought that up multiple times. I can remove citizenship. Okay. But that's a choice I made 30 something years ago. That was my choice.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
So,
we're talking 30 years ago, man. At 30 years ago, a person's sense of responsibility and a person's sense of prosperity and motivation and an eye towards the future was much different than a person's. If you take a 20-year-old today, you take how many
right.
20-year-olds today are mentally prepared to go to another country and become an immigrant. Uh,
Oh,
you know what I mean? I don't know.
right.
Here, for example, if you want to talk about labels, here we have Terrians. You know what a Terrian is? Do you know what a Terrian is? Hmm?
No.
A
If you
Terrian
can explain me.
A Terrian, a Terrian is a person, usually a teenager between the ages of 14, I don't know, to 20, let's say, who identify as animals. Hmm? And they buy a mask, a nice mask, I mean, an expensive mask. They buy a tail. They buy a tail, and some of them have other other accessories like gloves, and they gather and they imitate animals, mostly
Right.
dogs, cats, and now I saw one that thinks it's a snake. And they walk and they gather and they act like animals, and you see them in parks, and they're and they're called Terrians, man. I haven't seen
Right.
one myself. I'm looking forward to seeing one. And these people, one of these people, in 4 years, do you see them migrating to another country? Uh,
No.
uh, to the USA? Do you see any of these
No.
people traveling across the country to Asia? If right now they perceive themselves as animals, domestic
Right.
animals, no. So, but anyway, so there's a bunch of labels, man. Does a Chinese person get mad where you said when you say, "Hey, I'm going to Chinatown"?
Right.
It's all the
Right.
way. It all depends on in the context of how you use it. You know what I'm saying?
I
Chinatown,
agree.
Chinatown, it's full of Chinese people. And they say, well, there's no cats in Chinatown. You know why? Yeah, because, the cats, the Chinese, they eat the cats. And it's all stereotypes, you know, and labels.
So someone in the comments say, Paul, they say the magnificent uh the magnificent Germany with Darren. That's his name on YouTube.
Uh-huh. What's
He's
up?
he's a he's a from Florida. Hello from Florida, he say.
What's up,
And
Florida?
he's saying they call ferries as well, but he never heard the term Tyrian, which
Terrian.
I
Yeah.
didn't know either.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know either.
Tehrian. Yeah, and they
Oh,
gather. They have these gatherings, these meetings, and they all
mhm,
get together and they act like animals,
right,
and they talk. The thing is, I want to
right,
know: are they vaccinated? Do they
right.
have their rabies shots? And are they, what happens? And I heard they bite you. Some of them will try to bite you.
Well, interesting enough, in Utah, uh, not too long, a few years ago, in Utah, there were complaints about children getting bit by this Tyrian, whatever they call it, or
Yeah,
Therian or whatever, right? And
Terrians.
yes, and they were being so a bunch of parents had to go to school and complain about that and talk to this kid's parent because they were doing that stuff. Now, I think they should be sleeping outside and eating cat food or dog food, whatever you are, and get treated like an animal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it's hard for parents, man, especially parents that don't know how to handle this. There's no handbook.
right, right,
There's no parents handbook, we weren't,
right.
there's no
I had to
handbook.
take. I had to remove him because this is very loud. It makes a lot of noises.
Oh yeah, Agustin's
So
connection is it's a shame, Agustin. Just
it's really
maybe
bad. So
you can participate on the chat, but
right,
his connection. He's in Rosario, you
yeah,
know.
he can talk on the chat, but his connection is making a lot of noises. Anyways, going back to immigrations. But yeah, man, like I can see any of those people migrating anywhere, but migrating is not for anybody. You have to have a clear uh understanding of what you want. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you gotta have some sense of direction, right? And when you go into another country, you're making that choice.
Yeah.
Either you want to admit it or not, you're making a choice. Either you make it before or later, it doesn't matter when in your life, but it's a choice you make. Like I'm sure for you, Paul, when you went to Argentina, it wasn't easy, and
Oh, I had a good
but you
time.
adapted to it, huh?
I had a good time.
Yeah, well,
It was
yes,
easy.
but well, maybe it
It was
was for you, right?
it was easy, man, because it's different. I mean, it's different, dude, because being an Argentine and going to the US, unless you're like, I know Argentines that live in LA, and they went there and they became very, very successful. Uh very successful. And but for me it was different because I came here in the 90s when there were no Americans.
Right,
So, and the only Americans you saw were on the TV or in TV shows, or the only Americans you heard, or the only English you heard was like in music and stuff like that. So for me, it was like,
right,
whoa, he's a Shanky. As opposed to like, oh no, he's from Haiti. He's Jamaican, you know what I mean? It's just like, whoa, they were holding Americans and anyone from other countries on a pedestal. You
right,
know what I'm saying? So, and it gave you a certain advantage of a sense of maybe a kind of superiority.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
right,
It's like being from Oxford and landing in the jungle. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's I don't know, but that's the way I see it. And for me, that's why I was able to use my talents and my skills to get ahead really, really quick.
right. Hold on, Paul. Hey, Agustin, it's very loud. Every time you join, it makes a lot of noise. I had to kick you out because it's interrupting the live show. It makes a lot of noise. That's fine. No, it makes there's an interference. Okay. Yeah, it's the noise. It makes a lot of noise. Yeah, thanks. Sorry about that, guys. It's just
Sorry,
he went
Agustin.
he.
It's a shame. It's a shame we can't get Agustin. He's a character.
Yeah, it's
He has a lot
unfortunate
of
because he
stories.
was it was a lot of interference with his sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so the magnificent says, if the gentleman who is trying to get on the screen, if you turn down the volume on the YouTube side, the static will go away. See, so it's very static. It was getting annoying. So I apologize about that. I removed him already, so
Yeah, it's a
we'll
shame.
continue.
Maybe next time.
Next time.
Yeah, so
And
yeah, so for me it was easy to get ahead because, I since from a very early age I worked I had all kinds of jobs. I was, my first job was at 12 delivering groceries at a grocery store. Then I was working at restaurants, and I was working
Mhm.
in supermarkets, and I always worked. So when I got here, I had a lot of skills, and plus
Right,
I spoke English, and so it was easy for me to become, an immigrant. I mean, mind you, I don't live in a lap of luxury. My life is pretty basic, pretty simple. Like I said,
right,
I enjoy my time, and I only work because, I need the bare essentials. But I don't have that sense of, oof, I need that really, really big house, or I need that really, really fancy car. I just need a car. I would love to
right,
have a Mercedes, but I know if I wanted a Mercedes, I would have to work. And like when we started talking today, it's all about time and how you use your time, because we're all going to run out of time. So use your time wisely, and use your time
right,
for things that, fill you, or
right.
fill the lives of others, you
But,
know.
also, United States was a little bit not immigration friendly when I come
Uh,
to the US. First of all, I grew up watching the same TV shows that an American kid was
uh,
watching. So in Argentina, we did not have our own animated shows. We got some, right?
yeah,
But the majority come from the US. So
yeah.
I grew
Well,
up watching the Three Stooges. We got watching Disney cartoons, many other, all the Anna
yeah,
Barbera cartoons, right? The superheroes, right? And so when I come to the US, I really fall in love with the culture, right? Everything I see on the movies. I remember when I saw the first ET movie when I was 13 years old, right? And then Back to the Future, all this stuff. When I come to the US, I was like, yeah, this is amazing. But
sure.
people are not as open arm as you thought we're gonna be when you come. You're thinking, well, I'm new, I'm an Argentinian. People probably want to know me.
Yeah,
That's what you're
sure.
expecting when you're new to a new country, but that's not the truth because there was many Argentina before me and many other immigrant before me in the U.S. Immigration is a hot topic, it's very political. So it wasn't as welcoming as it was for you. But
Sure.
in Argentina, there were a
You
lot.
didn't,
There's a
but
lot.
you didn't need a visa in the 90s, did you? No.
Yes, when I can, yeah. Well, I don't know if I did, but I came with a business visa. We bought a business in Florida with my dad. My dad
Oh,
bought the
okay.
business,
Oh, well, there you
and I
go.
work. I came to work with him. We bought
Oh,
a
okay.
yeah. We
Oh,
bought
so you
a
had
business.
something set up. It's not like you went, "Oh, I'm gonna go
Oh
to the
no,
US and see
I
what happens." No,
oh no no
you had a plan. No, that changes that's a whole
right
different ball game, you know.
right yeah
It's a
no. I
whole new
needed.
ball
I
game.
had a so my dad applied for a business visa, which allow you to do business in the U.S.
Yeah,
I think it's called B2 or something. You need to have so much money in the bank. There's a
yeah.
requirement of how much money you need to have to invest. So my dad grabbed the money and we bought a
Nice.
property and a business.
What kind of
Oh
business?
yeah. So we bought an auto parts store
Oh,
first,
okay. There you go.
but our first, so my dad has a chrome plating business in Argentina, huge,
Nice.
and he been in many car shows. People know him. He's
Oh,
very
cool.
known in the industry. And but back in those days, my dad he kept the chrome plating shop in Argentina, and then decided to bring the bumper plastic repair finish to the U.S. because we were fixing bumper plastic back then in the 90s,
Mhm.
and I knew how to weld and fix plastic. So what we did is my dad bought this auto parts store, and then we opened our first bumper repair business in the U.S. And for every person that you bring from Argentina, you need to hire 5 Americans to teach them the skills to repair bumper plastic, right?
Damn.
Uh, and that's what we did.
Cool.
And that's how the whole journey started in the US. and then during the recession, when September 11, when the towers were taken down.
Oh, that
Um,
changed everything.
yes, and then we went into a recession and we lost. And look, if you're going to open a business in another country that you don't speak the language and you don't know the culture, get educated first, because it took us a long time. We wasted a lot of money and time learning the culture, learning the language. We made a lot of mistakes. And then when we finally kind of were swimming out, getting close to the coast and see a light at the end of the tunnel, we got hit
Sure.
by the recession and I lost everything. My dad stayed in the business, I left, and then I went back to school and I got a degree in computer science,
All
right?
right. Yeah.
Uh, but um, that's how I got to the U.S. That's how everything began, right?
Cool.
But yeah, so even with all that, U.S. wasn't as you know arm opening as the U.S. is. U.S. is a lot more, and I think it had to do because of the movies, everything you see in
Sure.
Argentinian TV. They were more welcoming to American. You told me a story in a podcast that I had with you before. That you got there, you were a bartender, you brought baseball to Argentina, you did all this stuff, and there was an opportunity to shine and bright. I didn't have that. I have nothing to show. I was just another immigrant here. The only
Sure.
difference that I spent money to buy a business, but Americans don't care about that.
Yeah. My
So
first,
that was
my
just
first,
good only for me.
my first job was a rapper, man. So 3 months. I guess like 3 months after I got here, I was signing autographs at clubs.
Right,
And I was rapping. I was blah 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 in English. Nobody knew what the hell I was saying. I was just drinking, rapping, signing
right,
autographs. There was no cameras, no cell phones, no selfies or no nothing. So there's no there's
right,
no there's no there's no record of this. But it was amazing, man. And then I started working not as a teacher, as a salesman on Florida Street, which is the pedestrian street downtown. And I was trying to sell leather to the gringos and to the
right,
tourists. And it
right.
just went up and up, and so I started teaching English. And I was
Yeah,
like, whoa. I was like, and it was just amazing. Just kept getting better and better and better. You know?
right,
And
right,
then, well, the 2001, the here when the shit hit the fan, I lost most of my money. I lost 80% of my capital because I had my money in the
right,
bank and the banks folded and they took all my money. The dollar was at 1 to 1, and suddenly, overnight, it was at 4 to 1. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
right,
so and it was at 4 to 1, and the bank automatically changed your dollars into pesos,
right,
illegally, of course, illegally. They couldn't do that. So your money, if you had $100, I'm bad at math, but if you had $100, suddenly you had 400, 400 pesos. But the dollar was I don't know, man. It was a mess, dude. It was a freaking mess. In this country, I admire Argentines and their resilience to all these economic and political, I don't know, schemes to just take all their money all the time, man. This country, that's why you really have to be Argentines are indestructible. If half the shit
right.
that happens here happened in the US, I don't know, there'd be mass suicides or mass shootings everywhere, you know.
Oh,
Yeah,
I bet.
man. People
I
would
bet.
just, I mean, it's just, nothing happens here because everybody owns everything, man. I said this before. Everybody owns everything they have. I own my car. I own my
Right,
house. Nobody's taking that from me. No banks, no government, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? In the
right,
U.S., if the government if the banks take 80% of all their capital, that's it. It's over. Game over.
right,
You're losing everything in
right. I
most of
mean,
the cases.
it's a cash society, right? It's
Yeah,
all
it's a cash
cash.
economy. It's all cash.
And to get a credit, you gotta be rich. And if you're rich, you don't need that credit, right?
If I want to buy a house, let's say I want to buy an apartment, they're gonna say, okay, yeah, we'll give you a mortgage, but you need 70%. Dude, if I had 70% of this, I would buy something cheaper. You know?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely. That's how, yeah, it's a different
Fuck
economy,
it.
man.
It's ridiculous.
In the US, you can have whatever, you can buy whatever you want, but then you got to pay it back. And that's the problem. You become a prisoner of the system. And,
Yeah,
like I was telling people, you buy a car, you buy a car that is, at the moment is brand new,
yeah,
right? And you use it for 4 or 5 months, and now it becomes old. It's 5 months
yeah,
old, and then it's
yeah,
6 months old, and now you get used to that car, and now you're driving your car and you see another new car, new model, because in the
yeah,
U.S. there's new models every year. Now
yeah,
you see
sure.
that a neighbor has a new model, and you want that, and you can go ahead and buy it. You can sell the one you have, even if you still owe money. You can sell that car and go buy another car, and if there's any upside down difference on the cost, they add it to the other new loan that you're gonna get.
Yeah,
So all that does is like it give you an emotional satisfaction, but you get into more debt and more debt. And at one point, you won't be able to sustain all the credit that you own because you bought a TV on credit, you bought your car on credit, you vacation on credit,
yeah,
and when at one point you're like, man, now is everything I have is old. I cannot buy anymore. I cannot
yeah,
take more vacation. And now I have $20,000 or $30,000 as a credit card that I gotta pay, and
yeah,
I make $2,000 a month or $3,000 a month. I cannot pay this.
yeah,
And you're
sure.
making $30 a month payment on every credit card, and all the $30 going into interest. You
Right.
never end up paying the full amount because you're gonna pay interest unless you make big payments into your credit card. It's like a whole game that you get into something that you get locked down into credit and the vicious thing of having more and emotional satisfaction, having new things, but nothing is yours, and you're constantly paying, you're constantly working, getting two jobs sometimes to pay the big debt that you have.
Yeah,
You
fuck
know,
that.
I
Yeah,
don't do that anymore because I am 53 and I learned my lesson.
yeah.
But when I was young, I don't know how many cars I own in the U.S. But
Dude,
if I count all the
I was there. I got my license when I was 16, and I left the States when I was 22. In that time, I had 22 cars.
there you go.
I used to buy used cars at the auction in Delaware. I used to go to Delaware at the auction. I used to buy cars for $200-$300, fix them up, and sell them
Right.
for double, or drive them until they weren't, until they just I junked them. And but dude, I bought a brand new car in the year 2013. I had a plan. They had a plan here. Renault, the French car company, had a plan called El Plan Rombo. Rombo. Plan Rombo.
I remember that.
Yeah, and I paid this Plan Rombo, and in 2013, I got sorteado. I got picked. So they gave me the car, right? And then I had a couple payments left. I had a couple, installment, 1,000
Yeah.
pesos, some shit like that. I wound up paying 90,000 pesos for the car, and the dollar was at 9. So I paid $10,000 for the car in 2013. If I want to sell my car right now, I can sell it for $10,000 because that's the market value. The market value right
Right.
now for my car is about 100. It's about a million it's about 15 million, something like that. I don't know, but it's ridiculous. My car is still worth $10,000.
Right.
Uh, 15 years later. Hmm? 16 years later. 16 years later, my car is still worth what I paid for it in 2013, which is $10,000. Now, I can't buy a brand new car for $10,000 because the same car, brand new, costs about, I don't know, double, if not more. That's crazy. That's why this place is upside down, man. Nothing makes sense. In Argentina, nothing makes sense, but everything works out perfectly.
Right.
So, yeah,
Well, the part is people. people, people adapt. They know how to adapt to different circumstances, different governments. Um,
It's a good time to buy. For all the listeners out there. It's a good time to buy either cars or real estate in Argentina.
right. I've
Yeah,
been thinking
it's
about
a good time.
retirement in Argentina.
It's a good time. This is good times for Argentina. This government's doing good things. It's getting rid of corruption. It's getting rid of all the, all this pseudo Peronism.
hmm
All the socialists are gone, and corruption here has just crippled this country for the past 20 years. And that's a
Yeah,
fact. And
yeah,
can nobody deny that? There's no denying it. Anybody that says there's been no corruption, it is a part of the corruption. So,
yeah.
he's,
That country was destroyed
dude,
by corruption.
yeah, it's
Unfortunately,
destroyed.
I don't know if many people know, but Argentina was it was the U.S. back in the day, right?
Yeah,
Where
yeah,
and I remember there was when I was younger, there was a say on the street where people were talking about the Argentinians acting like what they used to be, right? Because back in the day when there was all this money, we have industry, we were receiving immigrants from all over the world because we were not at war with anybody. We were suppliers for a lot of countries that were at war. We were selling weapons. I mean, everything.
yeah,
And at that time, there was a lot of money. People lived great, and
yeah.
but that went away, and people did not know how to behave without that. Like, it's like, well, it's kind of like a better example is like, okay, I used to be rich, and now I'm poor,
Yeah,
right? And I'm walking with a $1,000 suit, but I really don't have anything.
yeah.
It's like you acting like something you're not anymore, and that behavior lasted for a couple of generations, because it was passed on. But we're not those people anymore. Argentina is not.
What happened? What
Arg-
happened was there was a social and cultural decadence took
yeah,
over this country. Because my uncles and aunts and my mom's family, they were poor. They were poor.
right,
They were poor, but they knew how to dance tango. They knew how to
right,
read the newspaper. They had all their teeth. You know what I'm saying? They were educated. They spoke well.
right,
Today, people don't know how to read, man. People have no
right,
teeth. You see teenagers, man. They I don't know, young adults with no teeth. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to talk
right,
right. They don't talk right, man. Uh,
right,
Culturally, the previous governments destroyed this country culturally. They listen to shit music, man. They don't listen to tango. They don't even listen to cumbia. They listen to stuff that is just horrible. That trap music, that Bugs Bunny music. You know what I'm
right.
saying? That's shit for the brain, man.
Right.
There's no positive message. You don't even to be one of these musicians. You don't even need musicians. All you need is an app.
Well,
Huh?
with AI, you're not even gonna need a singer anymore.
Exactly, man. So I
It's
mean,
just,
and
I mean,
that's another thing. That's another. We go back to labels. This Bugs Bunny. They put a label on him.
right.
Suddenly he represents Latin America. He doesn't represent Latin America. He doesn't represent.
Well, I don't.
He represents him and his listeners and his followers. That's who he represents. He doesn't represent me, you,
Right.
anybody with a sense of culture and decency.
I
Nah,
don't even know if people knew this, but Argentina wasn't even considered part of Latin America back in the day.
no,
That's something that happened. It happened recently, but back in the day, Argentina was not part of. Even if we were a Spanish-speaking country, we were not part of Latin America, and
yeah.
that's
My
right
kids,
now is diving into politics, but
yeah,
we were not.
my kids, for example, my son and my daughter, they say, I'm not Latino Americano. I'm Argentino. Huh?
Right,
My daughter will say, yo no soy Latina, yo soy Argentina. All right? They
right,
consider themselves Argentine. They don't consider themselves Latin Americans.
Right,
because this is a European. I mean, this is as European as you're gonna get, especially Buenos Aires.
right.
I've been to Spain, I've been to France, I've been to other countries, and if you go to downtown Buenos Aires, you're in a city that's much better than France, much better than most cities in Spain. Buenos Aires is a beautiful city, if not one of the most beautiful cities in the world. And I
So,
don't
Paul,
care. I mean,
that now brings me to talk about identity, right? We already
yeah,
have an hour. I don't know. We can hang out a little more, but identity is something that I struggle when I come to the U.S. We're going back to Argentina not being part of Latin America back in those days, right? And if someone knows better than me, they can correct me. But these are things that I learned as a kid, right? We never were considered part of Latin America. We listen a lot of European music in Argentina. We listen to a lot of English music and local our own music, from tango to national rock and roll in Argentina, that kind of stuff. So when I come to the U.S. and I look, I'm not saying that we are not part of Latin America. I'm telling you, I'm just talking about history here,
yeah,
right? And anybody, I'm not trying to say that I'm not, that I'm better than anybody. I just want to make sure I'm just talking about history and
yeah. We are
things that
though.
happens.
I mean,
Yeah.
Argentines are better than most people.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay, you convinced
Yeah,
me.
come
No,
on, man. Just say it. You know it. You know it. It's
no,
okay
no,
to say it.
no, dude.
It's
There's a
okay to
lot.
say it.
Oh,
That's
I'm
why we
not
have
really
Maradona. That's why we have Messi. That's why we have Gardel.
right.
And
No,
we invented the bus system. Argentines are the
the
best.
the fact that we feel like we are the best, that makes us already not the best.
No, it's
That
okay. It's
already making
okay to
not the
say
best.
it. You know it,
We are
man.
we are good in a lot of stuff. I'm gonna say that, but
Yeah,
there's a lot of smart people everywhere, man.
yeah,
But being the way we are, um, it, even when we're not the best, we believe they are the best. It took
yeah,
us to a lot of places. We thought we were the best at soccer for a long time, and it took us a long time to win the third World Cup. Right? We
yeah.
thought we were gonna win like every year, and we never did.
Yeah, because we're the
But
best.
right? Many years later, we won the World Cup. But
But it's
so
okay. It's
right,
just a game.
if we were the best, we had
Yeah, but we
the
got
best.
ripped off. Argentina got ripped off in the World Cup 1990 World Cup. They got ripped off. There was no penalty. Germany ripped them off. They got ripped off in the other World Cup, and they got ripped off when they kicked Maradona out of the World Cup. So there's always this force working against Argentina. But in the end, it's triumph.
There's a lot of yes.
You know.
Anyways, I
I
was gonna
I
take
give you an example. I went to Spain, right? I went to Spain, and I went out, visit some bars and blah blah blah. But when I met an Argentine, it was a totally different vibe. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to if I had to meet somebody, I didn't want to meet any Swedes, any French people, any Brits. I wanted to meet some Argentines because they were the most fun. And I remember meeting this Argentine, and we were just talking, man, and we were laughing. I didn't laugh with anybody else there. You know what I'm saying?
right.
I had a couple chuckles, ha 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 ha. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I don't know. It just brings me back to the point that the porteño is nothing beats a porteño.
Well, I don't consider myself, at least me. I mean, but it is in our DNA to feel like we're the best at everything. But
Yeah. How does an
history
Argent?
shows us that we're not the best of everything. I mean,
How?
we might be charming, or we might be able to get into a party and make
Uh,
some noise and make things better.
uh,
But history shows we're not the U.S.
no.
Right? We lost the war against England, right?
Yeah,
So
that's
we
because
lost against
there were a lot of
Germany
forces.
two
There were.
finals. We
Yeah.
we lost against Germany back in when we were playing the soccer World Cup
1990
in
in
2000.
Italy.
I was there. 2006. 2006. Yeah, I was there. and then we lost the final in Brazil against Germany. So definitely, uh, but it's in our DNA. What you feeling, what you're saying about, that's what we feel we are.
Yeah.
Whether
You
we
know,
are,
I have a question for you.
yeah,
Do you know how an Argentine commits suicide?
no,
He jumps off his ego. There you go.
yeah.
Huh? If you want to kill yourself, jump off your ego.
We have ego, man. I mean, yes. Look, if it
Yeah,
wasn't because I left Argentina, I probably would be the same way. I mean, I got I got more humble just being surrounded by other cultures. But
yeah,
what Paul is saying is what many Argentinians believe is that it's in our DNA in
yeah,
everything we do,
yeah.
and people know us for that. So,
There's a
but
certain
at the end of
wit.
the day,
There's a
we just people,
there's a certain wit. There's a certain I don't know, man. There's a certain wit. I guess it's part of being, in this particular the characteristics, the unique characteristics of this living in this country that
right,
I don't know. I don't know. It's part of being an immigrant.
right,
What I feel
right.
is just basically part of being an immigrant. It's really really understanding and experiencing and feeling the culture in which you live.
Right.
And so that's what's but yeah,
So, Paul, going back to identity, right? When I got to the US, that's one of the things I struggled the most because I did not, I did, when you come to the US, there's a lot of diversity,
yeah,
way more at least back in the 90s, there was less diversity in Argentina. In the 80s, was even worse, right? But now,
yeah,
today is very diverse, Argentina. But back in the day when I moved, there was less diversity in Argentina, but there was a lot more diversity in the US. That was the first time I saw a black person was in the United States. I never saw a black person before. So with all this stuff. So to me, like
In
see
Argentina they sent them all off to war. That's what
right,
happened. They sent them all off to
right,
war. There was a black population because they had a slave trade here,
right,
but they
right,
sent them off all on the front line in the war against Paraguay. Boom. They kept all
right,
the nice looking black women, and all the
right,
aristocratic Argentines had their black, mistresses, and
right,
eventually the black started to fade away and it became white or like
right,
tan. So that's why there's no black population here
right,
because it was el blancamiento they called it.
right.
And
Which
anyone and
they were
yeah,
doing that in the US too. That's what they
yeah,
did. They want to do that with the Indians and the blacks.
yeah. So go
Right,
figure. Yeah,
right. So when I come to the US, like I did not know what was my group. I did not feel like I was Hispanic or Latino, right? That's not how I think today, but
yeah,
back in the days, how I felt. I'm just trying to describe when I come, my first time coming from the U.S. with an Argentina mentality back in the 90s,
yeah,
and I came here and I don't know where I belong, right? I didn't know if I belong with the Puerto Rican, with the Mexican, with the Cubans. I have no clue.
yeah. That's
Certainly not
crazy.
with the black people,
Yeah,
right? And I thought maybe I should be with the whites, but the whites don't see me as a white person.
mm,
But in Argentina, I never saw myself as a brown person. I never saw myself as any color.
yeah.
But in
Sure.
Argentina, they used to call me negrito because I was the darkest person in Argentina
Hmm.
compared to all the people I'm hanging out with,
Yeah,
right? And I
yeah.
went to
Well,
I used to live in a
today here in Argentina, you're an albino.
probably I am today compared to
Argentina
how
got really dark. Argentina got dark, man.
right,
Argentina got dark.
yeah,
You walk
but
down Corrientes, it's dark, man.
right.
It's dark.
But
It's fucking
when I
dark.
was when I used to live in Ranelagh, which it was
Oh yeah, I
it
know where
was
that is. Near Quilmes,
yeah,
past Quilmes.
yeah, that was all
Yeah.
an English
Yeah,
colony
that was
that
very,
moved
very,
there,
very English. Yeah, very English.
right? So they used to call me Negrito because that was,
Mm.
I was brown.
Well,
And but that was some people, not everybody, but some people, and it wasn't with the intention to downgrade someone.
yeah.
It's just a friendly way. It was a very friendly way they do it. But
Yeah, sure.
interesting enough,
It's
even
a
with all that,
label.
when I come, huh?
It's a label.
It's a label. And then when I come to the U.S., I didn't know which one was my group,
Yeah, yeah.
where I belong. So,
Well,
uh,
I experienced something similar to that, man, because since I grew up in my mom's Argentine, my dad lived here. We either spoke Spanish, Castellano, or Italian.
right,
No one spoke English in my house. So I also, when I was on the street, I didn't know where I belonged because I really didn't feel like an American because, in my house was a totally different world. So I grew up in two
right,
worlds, and so outside, I hung around with the Italian kids, but I also had Irish friends. I had black friends. I had Chinese friends. I had friends from all different cultures because I really wasn't a pure culture. I
right,
wasn't a pure American. Even though, Philadelphia, South Philly, you had Irish, Italian, Polish, and that's it. You had black and you had Chinese. Very, very small, only in Chinatown. But it was a European community, South
right,
Philadelphia. South Philadelphia was, like I said, it was German, Irish, Polish, Italian, and some Spanish, Puerto Rican. You know, people thought I was
right,
Puerto Rican. Some people thought I was
right,
Italian. Some people thought I was Puerto Rican. Then when I came here, I was a Shanky.
right.
You know, I knew what I was. Now I don't know what I am. Now I'm just a hybrid.
Identity is a big deal, man, especially when you live abroad, man.
Yeah,
But today, you know, I, I am who I am, and I'm okay, right? I have friends from all over the world, right? Here, first of all, through my network right now, through YouTube, I met people all over the world. But in the US, I have all sort of friends, man.
yeah,
I don't have just I don't belong to one group. I just belong to the group of people that want to hanging out with me. But
yeah.
at the time, I struggle. I struggle because I wanted to know where I belonged, and
Sure.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And look, I was discriminated by other Spanish people for the way I speak my Spanish. That happened to me when I was new here.
Hmm.
Um, that would not never happen to me,
Yeah.
right? But that happened, and then there was a lot of discrimination between cultures, like the Puerto Rican against the Mexican against the Guatemalans, the Mexican against the Argentina against the
Hmm.
Paraguayans or the Chileans. So there's so
Shit.
much division between the Spanish community here. It's unbelievable, unbelievable, right? And
Well, you need to come back,
I
man. Come back home.
oh man, yeah. Well, I'm too
Yeah.
old for that. I mean, I don't care.
You're
I
too
have great
old, man. You know when you're old, when you're old,
when
when the only thing that rises in the morning is the sun. That's when you know you're old, man.
right, right. Oh, I think I'm getting older, man.
Oh
I'm
no, that's
halfway
no good,
there.
man. Oh shit.
I'm halfway there. Oh, man.
Alright. Alright,
But
Claudio, man.
but yeah, I mean, there's so much we can talk about. I mean, I had so many experiences, we can share with people about immigration and that kind of stuff.
Sure,
But
sure.
man, we went over a lot, I think.
Alright, man. Well, let's pick it. Let's continue next time, man. We'll get some more people on, and maybe Agustin can connect.
Yes, they need to make sure they have good audio because it gets
Yeah,
pretty frustrated for people that don't get good at, they cannot
sure.
listen
Yeah,
well. But good, man. So I guess we do this again next month. So I hope you
sure,
guys enjoy the show. For those that were watching, but this is just the beginning, so we do more next month.
sure. Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, and also I want to say, I mean, for those listeners out there, don't forget that I also have the Gringos in Buenos Aires podcast where you can check out. I have a
Right.
podcast that we do here in Buenos Aires where we interview expats from all over the world. So you can tune into that. and follow that also.
Right.
Maybe
But
we can get
we
maybe
were
we can get some.
multi-streaming. We
Oh,
were
cool.
multi-streaming, Paul, so you were live on your channel too.
Oh,
But that's good that
nice.
you brought that up. Yes.
All right. Okay. Well, special shout
So,
out to all my friends, all the people that know me in Buenos Aires, all my I don't know, family and friends all
yeah,
over the place.
follow
You know.
Paul because Paul has some really good material. He interviewed expat in Argentina. He has some good stuff,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And I'm also
Good
a
stuff.
fan of the Grateful Dead. Yeah. You listen what music do you listen to over there, Claudio, in your house? Do you listen to tango, Palito Ortega? What are you listening to? You
Nah,
listen-
I'm old, but I'm not
Palito
gonna be
Ortega.
listening to that stuff.
Listen to Sandro. Listen to Sandro,
No,
Palito
man.
Ortega, Charlie Garcia.
I mean, I like,
Sumo. You listen to Sumo?
no, I'm actually listening to, I like country music,
Mm-hmm.
right? Don't criticize me for it. You
Mm.
might don't like country music, but
No, I love country music, man. I like
I
country
love
music.
country music. I like
Yeah,
music I can connect with, and I connect with country music. I like to listen to
nice.
blues. I
Ah, I
like
like
to listen
blues.
to bluegrass. I
Ah,
listen
bluegrass.
to,
And you
yes.
don't like you don't listen to the Grateful Dead?
No, I
Ah,
haven't.
no. Ah, you should, man, because it's a combination of bluegrass and country. Huh?
Now I have to. I haven't listened to that, but
No, you
then,
should, man. You're gonna love it, dude. It's a combination of rock, country, and bluegrass. It started off as bluegrass.
uh,
Yeah,
another music that I like, I listen to, Eagles,
yeah, yeah. Classic rock.
yeah, I listen to that, Credence, there's so many, Duran
Yeah.
Duran, so many bands, that I like. I'm not good at remember all these bands and names,
Sure, sure, sure.
but and if I'm drunk, I'm gonna be real.
Yeah,
I listen to anything.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, don't listen
What?
to Bad Bunny though.
Oh, I don't, when I'm drunk, I listen to anything. My drunk music doesn't matter because I have no control of what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
If I walk,
drunk is a good time to listen to Bad Bunny.
yeah, I wouldn't do it when I'm fresh. I don't listen to Bad Bunny, right? But if I has alcohol in me and I walk into a party, people, I dance anything. I
Yeah.
don't care.
All right.
But I had to be drunk. Tipsy won't do it. I still can choose my music. I had to be
Yeah,
drunk.
yeah, it's cool. All
Right,
right. All right, Claudio,
right, Paul.
man. All right, it was good spending this time with you and everybody
It
out
was fun,
there.
man. Let's
All
do this
right.
again next month.
All right, buddy.
All right, Paul.
I'll talk to you later.